No retreat, no surrender. Doctor strike hits the 9th day with a big parade in Nairobi County.
Lile jambo ambalo tunashughulikia wakati huu ni vita dhidi ya pombe haramu, mihadarati na madawa ya kulevya.
Over 200 people arrested and 14,000 alcoholic premises shut down in a nationwide illicit brew crackdown. On Your Opinion Matters, we ask your take on housing levy reductions set to take effect from March 19th.
Sasa affordable house hizo zipinga iko sawa.
Mimi hainifurahishi.
Tena hizo nyumba hatutengenezwe barabara ya Kawangware.
And tonight on the center stage, we take a look at the alarming cases of non-communicable diseases and how to manage them. Once more, welcome to the broadcast. The hashtag is Lookuptv at Lookuptv on Facebook, Lookuptv on X, and Lookuptv on our YouTube channel. Let's begin. The Kenya Medical Practitioners, Pharmacists and Dentists Union has announced a fresh strike notice for next week. Speaking on Friday outside the Council of Governors offices in Westlands, KMPDU Secretary General Davji Atela told the medical practitioners that the protest will continue until the Ministry of Health meets their demands.
We will not waste time to meet them when there's nothing they're offering. We will not meet them when they're threatening us. We will not meet them when they're victimizing us. But there's no doctor who will go back to work unless these things are sorted.
Despite a grueling 7-hour session that stretched into the wee hours of Friday morning, talks between the government and the striking doctors broke down again, leaving the crippling health crisis unresolved as the strike entered its 9th day. Kenya Medical Practitioners, Pharmacists and Dentists Union Secretary General Dr. Davji Atela saying the strike will continue until the demands are met. The standoff leaving thousands of Kenyans without much needed public health services.
We will be on this strike as long as it can take. If the government wants to take 100 days, we'll take 100 days. If the government wants to take 20 days, we'll take 20 days. We will not be intimidated. We will not be victimized. We are out to show that they can fire all of us. We have nothing to lose by the chains the chains that they've given us. We have nothing else to lose but the frustration that they've shown us.
The doctors carried placards and chanted against the Kenyan government, saying it had failed to implement a rough promises, including a collective bargaining agreement signed in 2017 after a 100-day strike, during which people died from lack of care.
We have negotiated CBA after 100 days of strike. And these are painful days that we believe many Kenyans have not forgotten. 7 years later, the government is disowning the same CBA they signed, the same CBA that is registered in court, the same CBA that is a court order. 7 years later, this government has not implemented the basic salary of the CBA.
It is the 19 key grievances raised by the medics that had fueled the union strike, as hundreds of Kenyan doctors protested in the streets on Friday, demanding better pay and working conditions in an ongoing national strike that has entered its 2nd week.
We, as the custodians of the medical profession, we are at a crossroads. The very essence of our profession is under threat, besieged by apathy and utter negligence. The MOH, Mafia House, is now turned into a Piccadilly circus for thwarting the profession, which we will not allow. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever.
The 9th day since the doctors' strike kicked off and seen taking the streets, the doctors vowing they will note down the tools until their grievances are met, now asking the Cabinet Secretary for Health, Susan Nakuminche, to resign immediately. Maven Getembe, Lookuptv, Nairobi.
And staying on that, as the doctors' strike entered its 9th day, lives of countless patients are at risk due to the delayed resolution, with some being forced to travel long distances to seek medication in private hospitals. Faith Charles with more.
Continue in the country. Patients have been forced to travel long distances to get treatment in private hospitals where health services are still ongoing. Geoffrey, one of the victims, narrates how he was unable to get medication and had to travel a long distance to get one.
Ni hisa ya Machakos huko. Penye nilitoka nikaambiwa nikuje huku ndo nipate matibabu mazuri. Hiyo ilinichukua muda sababu nilikuwa huko saa za Machakos, daktari wako unaenda unaambiwa ngoja kidogo daktari hayuko.
Anita Valen faces a similar situation where she traveled from Kiambu County to Machakos County to get treatment. What amazes Valen is good and fast medical services she received at Katani Private Hospital.
I had to travel all the way from Thika, but I'm grateful because venye nilifika hapa nilipata services mzuri, nilishughulikiwa immediately. Yes, hata siku kawia sana, walinishughulikia tu immediately.
Mimi ningeambia ya kwamba vile tuko na mgomo wa madaktari saa hii nchini, I think hapo hatujakosa service ambayo tukasema ati hakuna daktari. Ukikuja usiku bado utawapata.
The executive director of Katani Hospital, Modesta Makani, stated that they have witnessed a surge in the number of patients after the strike, and indicating that his team is fully prepared to provide the best services to the patients.
So we have patients in the wards that have come from different locations to come and seek care here. Well, most private hospitals are open and they're taking care of patients. I wouldn't say that we've seen a decrease. We have actually seen a little bit of an increase because patients who are not able to access the public facilities are able to come to us.
Faye Charles, Lookuptv.
Away from that, 4,800 alcoholic outlets operating within prohibited proximity to schools have been closed and their licenses revoked in the ongoing crackdown on illicit brews. Interior Cabinet Secretary Kithure Kindiki, speaking in Machakos County, said that over 9,000 unlicensed alcoholic drink selling premises have also been shut down and 12 distillers of toxic brews destroyed to disable further production. John Matava with more.
About 4,800 liquor stations operating near schools have been closed down and their licenses revoked, while 258 people have been arrested and apprehended.
We've been able to shut down over 9,000 facilities or premises that were operating without any form of license.
Kindiki directed the law enforcement agencies in Machakos County to roll back the rising cases of drug peddling, sale and consumption of narcotic drugs and shisha.
We will be announcing in 2 weeks' time a new measures of how many of them will be licensed again, depending on passing the threshold for quality control and public health and safety concerns.
While speaking in Kitui town, Kindiki said the government will hold every commander of a security agency across the country individually accountable for security breaches within their jurisdictions.
Going forward, no license of whatever type will have any validity in the territory of Kenya if it is within 300 meters to a basic learning institution. And that includes private and public schools alike.
In addition, Kindiki said the crackdown to rid illegal businesses and the perpetrators of the crimes shall continue alongside the countrywide crackdown to rid the country of illicit brew, narcotic drugs and substance abuse.
So we are working on flushing out any criminal elements, drug peddlers and people who are selling or consuming shisha.
John Matava, Lookuptv.
Now, the Kenyan National Commission on Human Rights has called on the government to order the pending exhumation of bodies from Shakahola to save the affected families the anguish of determining the fate of their missing families. The Commission's chairperson, Roslyn Odede, urged the Cabinet Secretary for Interior and National Administration to ensure the exhumation process proceeds, saying it is a violation of human rights.
The activists are now calling on the government through respective agencies led by Interior CS Kithure Kindiki and Police Inspector General Japheth Kome to fast-track cases involving Shakahola cult leader Paul Mackenzie and over 92 other suspects responsible for over 429 deaths, where 67 adults and 25 children were rescued against indoctrination and radicalization amongst other charges.
Recommend that he conducts thorough investigation to ensure that the perpetrators are brought to justice, especially those who bear the highest responsibility. These investigations should be expeditious and concluded in a reasonable time.
The officials now want the state to swiftly effect prosecution of all security officers responsible and on duty in areas in question as a result of their failure in investigations, prosecution process, as well as the cross abdication of duty and negligence dated 2017, where numerous reports were made by publics to police stations in the area of gross misconduct and abnormal practices at the Good News International Ministry under the stewardship of one Thengi Mackenzie.
The negligence and failure of the criminal justice system, which released Mackenzie severally or failed to expedite hearings against him, and also the failure by the national security and administration structures, left the followers exposed to harm, injury, and abuse.
CS Kindiki has maintained a hard stance against Mackenzie, facing the most harsh ever charges, with KNHCR now demanding facilitation by the state for survivors and victims to regain their crucial documents, including national identity card, birth certificates and passports which had been destroyed, as well as the establishment of multi-stakeholder de-radicalization and rehabilitation centers for the victims.
The reason the exhumation was suspended is because of lack of storage. And 16, the followers were compelled to burn their identity cards and other documents. The survivors' fingerprints were collected for identification purposes, but they are yet to be issued with new identity cards to date.
The lobbyists also want the government to invest in rehabilitation centers countrywide in preparedness for such similar future catastrophe hits.
To get them to drop their beliefs is a process. And that's why we are saying that some of these people should not be facing the criminal justice system, but should be being taken through a psychosocial program to de-radicalize them, because we are victimizing them again.
Stanley Lugaria, Lookuptv, Nairobi.
Now, Kenya is set to host the World Rally Championship 2024 that will commence on March 28th to 31st. Cabinet Secretary for Youth Affairs, Sports and Arts, Babu Namwamba, expressed confidence that Kenya will deliver a successful, fun-filled and safe event. At the same time, the government has banned hawking and partying along the Naivasha routes, a move that will see perennial traffic snarl-ups reduced during the global event.
Preparations are underway for the 22nd World Rally Championship, which will happen in Kenya next week. The government stepping up with a ban on hawking and partying along WRC routes in Naivasha, a move that is expected to reduce traffic during the international event.
At the Moi South, we hand vendors who are selling alcohol in their vehicles. This time round, we have organized with the county government. There will be no vending along that road. From Nairobi to Pipeline, we have organized with our traffic officers. There will be no parking alongside the road.
According to Cabinet Secretary for Youth Affairs, Creative Economy and Sports, Babu Namwamba, all preparations for the rally have been completed and rally cars have started arriving. Ababu said the government has put in place measures to reduce traffic disruptions and snarl-up during the event.
We are perfectly on track. We are on track to have a successful event. And I want to really applaud our team that is executing this program. As you can see, we are very hands-on. It is all hands on deck. The whole team is involved. And then so absolutely no reason, no cause for concern. We are going to have a successful rally.
On the other hand, WRC CEO Charles Gasheru said that all preparations on the rally routes have been completed with necessary personnel and equipment ready.
So in terms of preparedness for this rally, we have all the documentation prepared. We have done the questionnaires for medical. We've done the questionnaires for the safety plans. We have done the media safety books. We are ready for the rally. We have done the insurance. That is ready. We have all the licenses from KCAA. Remember, we have a few aircraft flying in this area. We have a Beechcraft aircraft that flies over every stage.
Onesimus Msonye, Lookuptv.
And it's a good time for us to take a fast break here on the program. When we come back, we'll run you through a few stories and then get into a conversation of the night. Taking center stage is lifestyle diseases. And we talk about lifestyle diseases and non-communicable diseases, then there is some relation. We'll be breaking that down with the doctor, Dr. Kelly, who's already in studio in just a few.
is a distinguished institution of higher learning dedicated to nurturing your intellectual curiosity and pushing the boundaries of knowledge. From state-of-the-art laboratories to modern libraries equipped with the latest resources, we provide you with the tools you need to succeed. Choose from a wide range of programs designed to prepare you for challenges of tomorrow's world. Whether in STEM, humanities, business, or the arts, our strong industry connections and career service support will help you translate your education into meaningful career opportunities upon graduation. Join a vibrant community of scholars from around the world, fostering cultural exchange, collaboration, and lifelong friendships. Book your space now for September intakes. Log in to https://www.uonbi.ac.ke for a wide range of courses to choose from. You can also contact +254 020 491 0000 or email us at pr@ounbi.ac.ke.
Welcome back and thank you so much for staying with us. Look Up Weekend, Nancy Lima here and Felista Adundo on the sign language interpretation. Uganda President Yoweri Museveni has appointed his son General Muhoozi Kainerugaba as the new Chief of Defense Forces. The appointment followed the selection of the immediate former CDF General Wilson Mbasu to a ministerial role. A cabinet reshuffle announced. Brian Amoy now reports.
General Muhoozi is the new chief of the Uganda Defense Forces, a son's political future being crafted out by his father, with pundits arguing that the future of Uganda's first family is taking shape. The 48-year-old's promotion comes amid a major cabinet reshuffle in which 5 ministers were sacked. Muhoozi commanded the Special Forces Group, an elite unit responsible for presidential security and key installations. He has been actively involved in diplomatic efforts, particularly in managing Uganda's relations with Rwanda. His elevation to the position of Chief of Defense Forces has reignited discussions and speculations about his political succession to the presidency, given his familial ties with President Museveni. With the changes by President Museveni both in the army and in the cabinet, many have opined that General Muhoozi has moved closer to his dream of becoming the president of Uganda. The 49-year-old first came to wider attention in 1998. Then, a fresh-faced graduate, he began recruiting students for the Presidential Guard, raising questions about whether his father was trying to build a political dynasty. Museveni brushed off the speculations, but Muhoozi rose swiftly through Ugandan army ranks, training at Britain's elite military academy, Sandburst, as well as in Egypt, the United States, and in South Africa. As presidential advisor, Muhoozi's online commentary on sensitive foreign policy matters has often created headaches for the government after he threatened in 2022 to capture Nairobi. Museveni was then forced to apologize to the nation and tell his wayward son to stop discussing affairs of state on social media. Brian Amoy, Lookuptv.
As the world marks Water Day, the Nairobi River Commission chairperson Dr. Pamela Olet on Friday flagged off the riverine communities working towards safeguarding rivers across the country in a bid to appreciate the impact of basin rehabilitation initiatives while motivating all the community leadership and its members to keep on safeguarding the water catchment areas.
I think it is with gratitude that we thank God that we are sitting here today on this occasion of World Waters. World Waters. So we take pride that we are here talking about waters. And not just Nairobi waters, but we are talking about world waters. Nairobi River Commission is not about Nairobi rivers. It is about many other counties that are feeding on the polluted waters. Interacted with this team on this other side, and what is gratifying is the resilience this team has to change the status. That is the strength that is going to change, that is going to help us achieve the vision of the river regeneration. So I want to thank.
And tonight, in Your Opinion Matters, our reporter Shamila Baraza hit the streets to gather thoughts on the 1.5% housing levy deductions that was officially signed into law on 19th March by President William RUTO. Let's hear what Kenyans had to say.
The streets to gauge public sentiment on the reintroduction of 1.5% housing levy that was officially signed by President William RUTO.
Kwa mambo hiyo jambo mimi hainifurahishi, upande yangu mimi hainifurahishi. Naona tu ni kama ni mzigo kubwa kwa Wakenya, kwa sababu kila Mkenya saa hii analia maisha ni ngumu, maisha imekuwa ngumu, hali hata kazi zenyewe hata kupatikana imekuwa shida. Sema kwanza ulisema serikali ni ya bottom up economy. Sasa tunaona bottom tunaona watu wenye wako chini ndio wanaendelea kufinyiliwa kabisa. Upande ya nyumba ya mtu kuwa na nyumba kila mtu hiyo naona hiyo ni porojo. Hiyo naona absolutely hiyo ni porojo kabisa. Hiyo ni porojo Mr. President, hiyo haiwezekani.
Sasa affordable house nisizipinga iko sawa. Sababu RUTO anafanya kitu ya maana sana. Watu ambao wameajiriwa wawe na vyumba mahali pa kutoka kwenda kufanya kazi. Kwangu naona ni vizuri RUTO kuwakata mshahara, ndipo nchi iendelee. How can a country grow if you big brothers if you're not developing it? Nyinyi mshaajiriwa, mnajenga vyumba vingine kule. Mbona nyinyi msifanye si pia wadogo tuje tuingie kwa vile vyumba?
Sisi tumehasol, tunatoka hapa hivi tunapigwa kibaridi pale. Ndio tukuje tuanze kukota hiyo mshahara, tunakatwa ngiri moja. Hiyo ngiri moja yenye uwezekani, hata sisi hiyo ngiri moja hiyo ndio tunatafuta. Sasa for example kama mimi kampuni yangu mimi nalipwa ngiri 8. Hiyo ngiri 8 ukinipata hiyo ngiri moja, nitakuwa nimebaki na nini?
Acha na hizo nyumba atutengenezwe barabara ya Kawangware kwanza, hiyo uchumi sana kisa hiyo atatuumiza sana kwanza watu boda boda sana.
So those were some of Kenyan sentiments in which most of Kenyans say that they were not in support of the 1.5 housing levy that was signed by the President RUTO. Remember, your opinion matters to us. I'm Shamila Baraza, Lookuptv, Nairobi.
Thousands of residents in Kilifi County are living in fear of being evicted by tycoons who are allegedly claiming ownership of large parcels of the land they have been living for ages. Our very own Lona Mbuya gives us a watch on the counties.
Fear can be seen among both the young and old, men and women residents who claim they failed to understand why they were being evicted from their own land. Shockingly, some of those issued with summon letters are dead people and are expected to report to the DCI. According to the locals, tycoons were using the security personnel to harass, intimidate and threaten them, while others had their houses demolished in 2018 but did not vacate since they have nowhere to go.
That's why in the gap to tell the world justice has to prevail here Mwendo Panya. Now justice to prevail is to give documentation. Either the government, if it end up finding kwamba huyo mwenye title deed alipata kwa njia haki.
As the world celebrates the International Forest Day, the Rainforest Alliance, a non-governmental organization, and other partners joined forces with the deaf pupils from St. Luke for the Deaf and the Ministry of Education to plant fruit trees at the school during the celebration of International Forest Day. Prime Cabinet Secretary and Cabinet Secretary for Foreign and Diaspora Affairs, Dr. Musalia Mudavadi, delivered a seminal address at the United States International University, Africa. He indicated that the government has placed a great security strategy to take Kenya to other levels in the future, is strengthening the landscape and bringing good relationship into this 21st century.
Enables the country to develop anticipatory policies that will empower it to navigate the dynamic landscape of the 21st century.
Finally, Ministry of Tourism and Wildlife Cabinet Secretary Dr. Alfred Mutua has launched Utalii Mashinani, which was held at Roteti Community Elephant Sanctuary, say the government through the sector has provided to increase the number of tourists by strengthening the tourist areas in all the 47 counties. Lona Lorraine Ombuya, Lookuptv.
Let's now get sporty. Sports CS Ababu Namwamba has paid a visit to Afra Stadium in Nakuru County to oversee the ongoing renovations of the stadium. The stadium's refurbishment aims to foster talent development and provide an avenue for both local and international events. Ababu has pledged that the government will help to finance the project, aiming to transform the stadium into an international standard facility.
Congratulations to the county government of Nakuru for the fantastic effort they have made to invest in this facility. We are here because it's the intention and the practice now, really actually the practice of the national government to work closely with county governments to develop sports facilities as well as facilities to support our creatives. And we see Afraha Stadium as being a key part of our plans to spread sports facilities across the country and also make sure that different parts of the country have the capacity to host events, including international events. And that is why we are here to check on the progress of Afraha. We believe that upon completion, Afraha will definitely add value, add immense value to our country's ability to host events, including regional and international events. And so we will continue to work with the county government of Nakuru to ensure that we finish this facility and put it in a place where it can support the development of talent.
Well, Falme have won over the defending champions Cameroon with a clean sweep in straight sets during the African Games, qualifying them for the finals. The final score stands at Kenya 3-0, with Cameroon with the set scores of 25-23 and 25-17. Now we're done with this first part of the broadcast, but we have our guest here in studio, Dr. Florence Kelly. Welcome once more. I already said welcome.
Thank you.
But just to pick your brain,
yes.
What do you make of the current times, our lifestyle, our diet and fitness levels?
I think that is reducing markedly because we are no longer doing the things that we used to do before.
So then that put us at more risk of getting the non-communicable diseases?
Yes, because we are less engaged with physical activities and our diets have changed markedly, even in the methods of cooking. That matters.
So do you think we're hell-bent or is there hope for us?
There's a lot of hope because you can change the dynamics. You don't have to be in the field to exercise.
Right.
And you can adjust cooking when advised.
Right.
Yeah, you can make the right decision.
Okay, we'll be coming back with more. That is Dr. Florence Kelly, consultant physician, endocrinologist. We'll be coming back with a conversation on the center stage. Don't go too far.
Tere, mambo ni mawili, kufikisha, kumwaga na kurudi. Kulala ni mwaka mpya.
Bua muka we mse. Nini mbaya? Wewe kwani wani vile dereva anaendesha gari vibaya? Lazima tususe. Anaendesha gari na kwa simu the whole time hata angalia barabara. Msanii dereva tusimame. Wewe dereva wewe. Mwaka iliyopita peke yake watu zaidi ya 3,000 walipoteza maisha yao barabarani kwa sababu ya tabia kama hizo. Hautatuangamiza tukiona.
Naomba msamaha, nitampeleka vizuri.
Si wameomba msamaha. Sasa tuende tusafiri kwa mwendo wa aste.
Dere Smart hufikisha abiria salama. Ujumbe huu umeletwa kwako na NTSA kwa ushirikiano na European Union.
Kumbuka hapa ndipo unajifunza mambo mengi kuhusu ukulima. Kilimo ni uti wa mgongo wa nchi, na ukiwa na Njoro unajifunza. Kumbuka, angalia mwenyewe. Tutakwambia ukitaka kujua tips za ukulima, ungana na sisi kwenye Lookuptv every Sunday. Unatukuta pale saa 10, tunakuonesha kuhusu ukulima. Ukulima wa mimea, ukulima wa ng'ombe, ukulima wa kuku, ukulima wa mbuzi na yote ambayo yanahusiana na ukulima. Kumbuka nini? Kipindi ni Ukulima ni Mali.
University of Nairobi is a distinguished institution of higher learning dedicated to nurturing your intellectual curiosity and pushing the boundaries of knowledge. From state-of-the-art laboratories to modern libraries equipped with the latest resources, we provide you with the tools you need to succeed. Choose from a wide range of programs designed to prepare you for challenges of tomorrow's world. Whether in STEM, humanities, business, or the arts, our strong industry connections and career service support will help you translate your education into meaningful career opportunities upon graduation. Join a vibrant community of scholars from around the world, fostering cultural exchange, collaboration, and lifelong friendships. Book your space now for September intakes. Log in to https://www.uonbi.ac.ke for a wide range of courses to choose from. You can also contact +254 020 491 0000 or email us at pr@ounbi.ac.ke.
Hello there and welcome to Center Stage. Now when we talk about non-communicable diseases, then lifestyle then comes into play just right after it. And the big question has been, are all non-communicable diseases caused by the way we live our lives? Or are some of the non-communicable diseases then genetic? We have all your answers right here in studio this evening. With me on set is Dr. Florence Kelly, consultant physician and endocrinologist. It's a mouthful.
Thank you.
It's going to take me some time to learn, but welcome to the program.
Thank you, Nelly.
And we have touched base on non-communicable diseases. So just for us to paint the picture, give us a list of the non-communicable diseases.
So I'd look at them in terms of what is common and what is becoming common.
Okay.
So the common non-communicable diseases include cardiovascular diseases, diabetes, hypertension, and cancer.
Right.
However, there are others. There are neurological diseases, there is mental disease, there are movement disorders, and we also have substance abuse and kidney disease, which also falls into cardiovascular disease, and people who have diabetes are also affected by chronic kidney disease.
Right. And the big question would definitely be, there are many people who are born in families where many people have their parents are diabetic, and so they end up having diabetes. So the non-communicable diseases, are they genetic?
Okay, there's a lot of factors that come into play when you talk about non-communicable diseases.
Right.
There is adjustable factors, which includes the diet, health style, living styles, and then there is the non-adjustable factors, which include age, genetics, ethnicity. What will affect a person of color? Sorry to use those words. But an African will not affect an Oriental or a white person.
Right.
So there are those differences.
Oh, so ethnicity comes to play in that sense.
Yes.
Okay, so we can't say that genetics course, is there a lot of factors that come to play then?
Yes, there are many factors, because as you age, you realize that you tend to find that people get sick, they develop diabetes, they become hypertensive, they may develop cancers, and they also get these dementias and other neurological disorders. But some of the factors that lead to diseases can be modified.
Right.
Yes.
And we'll be coming to that. Now, COVID-19
yes.
In 2020 then brought a lot of things into focus. There are many people who didn't know they had hypertension, diabetes, until they were diagnosed with COVID-19. So the diagnosis, how can people get screened perhaps, or are there any signs for these non-communicable diseases?
Okay, so the biggest sign of non-communicable diseases is weight. You see, at least you see weight. Weight
that you see pretty clearly.
You see it very clearly. Then there are other factors that are invisible, as it were, such as ethnicity and genetics. Genetics, you cannot tell what is going to happen to you. Sometimes you are the first person to develop this non-communicable disease in the family, and then it progresses. Yeah. So
that is a sign.
Yes.
And are there others that perhaps are not very visible, but are feeling sickness in some way that you can be able to tell?
Yes, you can tell when you're going along the wrong path, because people with non-communicable diseases will have that sort of sign. You are more fatigued, your focus is reduced, and of course you gain the weight.
Right.
Yeah.
So weight is very significant.
It's very significant.
So hence the reason why it's important for us to ensure that we have a healthy weight.
Yes, it's good to maintain a healthy weight, and above all, it's good to engage physically. How do you engage physically? You can exercise at home and at workplace, and you create targets. How do I want to exercise? How many times do I want to exercise? And then the exercise depends on the age. Younger people are expected to exercise for a longer period in a day. The older ones, you give them a target of 30 minutes in a day, every alternate day. That amounts to about 150 minutes to 200 minutes in a week.
Oh.
Yeah.
So depending on age.
Yes, depending on age and also physical ability. A person who has got challenges physically will need to do this kind of exercise as directed, and for this duration of time. Yeah.
Okay. And when we talk about fitness, then gyms can be expensive.
Yes.
So are there other exercises that we can do which don't necessarily cost us a lot of money?
There is a very simple way of tackling that problem of exercising. You can walk home from work, and you can also walk to work. Maybe walking to work may be difficult because you want to arrive when you are decent and less sweaty.
You're fresh.
Yes. But while you're at work, you can also exercise. Right. Don't just develop the habit of sitting down the whole day. It has been demonstrated that when you sit for more than 1 hour, you are equivalent to a smoker.
Whoa.
Yes. Your cardiovascular risk increases just like that of someone who is smoking. And imagine you are not enjoying the cigarette. let me just put in quotes, you are not enjoying the puff, and you have similar risk to somebody who smokes.
Right.
Yeah.
So movement is very essential.
It is very key.
Okay. And diet, because when we're talking about weight, then our diet plays a major role.
Yes. That is also actually the two things that we always advise, or one thing that we always advise for anyone that is being treated for a long-term disease and a non-communicable disease is lifestyle adjustment. And what do I mean by that? If you are not physically active, you have to put an effort to some form of activity. And if you are active, maybe you can increase the amount of time or the number of days, and then adjust the diet. There is so much that has changed in the diet, including the way we cook. We deep fry, we cook in high heat. That alters the molecular structure of the food.
Yeah.
And
you put the noodles in water, cover it, and it's ready.
Yes, yeah. And so that it boils down to inflammation. Those activities, physical inactivity and poor diets increase inflammation, and that is how you end up developing non-communicable diseases.
Right. Okay. And there are many people who are, we call them skinny obese. So someone could be having even high cholesterol levels, but they have a very skinny frame. So sometimes if you don't put on weight, then you're not sure if you're at risk of some other diseases. In this instance, what's your take?
So it's true that they are skinny obese. You call them skinny obese. Yeah. Okay, what we see is that they are skinny, but their genetics come into play.
Right.
Some skinny people will not tolerate cholesterol, and they also have a tendency to be in the inflammatory state.
Right.
So they will develop some of these diseases, hypertension, diabetes. They are harder to treat because they must be on treatment. While the ones that develop these diseases because of physical inactivity and poor diet, you can modify. You can revert to normality as much as possible, or near normal. Let me call it near normal, because as long as you've not proved what the genetics of the person are, then we still have that risk of genes and age, depending on when the disease is presenting. But you can modify.
Right.
Yes.
And you know, the conversation of eating right,
yes,
it has been there. We keep talking about it. But how can people now get to do it practically? And just say, how can people get to a place where they'll make that choice and say, I'd rather go for the salad over the ice cream?
It is simple, because what you need to do is look at what grandma and grandpa did, and they lived long. The reason why they lived long is not because they are lucky or they are just lucky. They are not okay. There is that bit of good genes and other factors that can also lead to longevity of life. But let's look back at how they lived. They ate better. They walked long distances. I've heard of stories of people who walked from Nairobi to Kangundo, Nairobi to Machakos, Nairobi to Naivasha. And that brings now the point of metabolic memory, whereby the cells remember what happened to me when at 18 years, at 20 years, what happened to my body, what happened to the body that I'm housed in. Right. And the response can be very deleterious.
Right.
Yes.
So when we say you are what you eat, that is totally and completely true.
You are what you eat, and you are how active you are. Yes, because as I said earlier, if you sit for more than 1 hour, you are increasing your cardiovascular risk. What is that risk? You are increasing the risk of experiencing heart attack, developing hypertension, or even a stroke. And nowadays we are seeing younger and younger persons having hypertension and having strokes.
Right.
Yeah.
And as we're talking about diet, when we say a good diet, a clean diet, but what does this really look like?
So a clean diet is, in simple terms, is a diet that consists of vegetables, preferably the greeny leafy vegetables that are grown in a suitable environment, not with sewage water, not adulterated,
right.
As near natural as possible. Then a portion of starch, a portion of protein. You can use your hands. The hands are a measure. The vegetables can be this. You can keep increasing the vegetables.
Okay.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And then the portion of starch is, you can use your palm. Okay. And the thickness, that is a portion of starch.
So this is the amount of starch that I should be eating.
Yes.
Okay.
And then the portion of protein.
Ah.
Yeah.
Okay. So these are the veggies.
Yes.
This is the carbohydrates, yes. And this is the protein.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So anytime, some people can eat food that is healthy, but the portions are different. So portions do count.
Yes, they count a lot, because if you sit down to eat one chapati, we've already exceeded our palm size.
So we're supposed to eat one chapati.
And we will tend to fold it to fit that size.
Right.
Yeah. So that is wrong. If I was to give you the measure of amounts of starch that we need to take per meal, it's very little. It's about 30 to 40 grams. That's very small.
And also, what contributes to how we consume our food as well as how we've grown up? We had full plates every time and we had to finish. So there's this unlearning. How can you say, okay, you get to get a helping of rice that is this much, and you look at it and you're sure, I'm not going to be full. So you're so scared of being hungry later that you have to add more. How can we get used to the healthy portions?
Now, that time when we used to be given hearty portions, and some people actually need to be given the hearty portions, like the people who are in construction, the people who are doing chores at home,
depending,
going to the shamba, the people who are walking. Yeah, the portions vary depending on the physical engagement that one is engaged in. So now, the physical bit of looking at your portion and thinking you're not going to be full is just something that we must outlive. And remember that time, that time we didn't have phones whereby you just sit down and then you're just looking at TikTok and Facebook, and you can spend 5 hours on social media, and that's the next meal time. Because if you eat at maybe 5 hours down the line, will be around midday 1. And that's when you need another meal. What will you have done? At the time when we used to eat those portions, kids would run outside to go and play.
That
people would be walking to the market. We have got transport now. We have borders that will carry us to the next step. We are not walking.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And one other thing that you mentioned, tobacco use.
Yes.
So substance abuse, which is very prevalent, and especially among young people in campus. And it's a norm, basically.
Yes.
How do we get to the young people and give them this information and tell them it's time to turn things around?
Yes.
This is what they know. This is what's cool. They hang out, and this is what they do.
One thing I like about the current generation is that they listen and they confront and they love the truth. Mm-hmm. So what they are lacking is the right information. There is a lot of information, but the right information, and the government is also engaged. Earlier on in the news, I listened to the Minister of Internal Security talking about shisha and substances that are going to be banned. Now, about tobacco, there are many ways you can consume tobacco. You can smoke it, you can do it in shisha. And can I shock you by telling you that the youngsters are now using tobacco that is ground like in a homestead, not in a factory, into their mouth? And that contains a lot of substances that
so it's not even processed like in the factories.
Yeah. It's not quantifiable. We don't know what they are taking. And when you take tobacco and the related substances, cannabis, alcohol, they do induce inflammation, and this contributes to developing non-communicable diseases.
Right. And there's also this narrative that you get to live once. You only live once. That can sometimes be very common among young people. So sending this message can be a little difficult. So do you think that still we keep talking about this and then it will click that change in their minds?
You see, the thing is, yes, you live once. There is no person who has lived more than once unless you reincarnate. You reincarnate. But the thing, what I like to talk about is how are you going to walk to the grave? Are you going to walk when you are shattered and destroyed and in pain, other than being fortified? You can walk beautifully. You can walk there without disease. You can walk there without excess weight. You can walk there beautifully, and you will enjoy your life. What is the essence of ailing, having to use medication during your productive years, when you have the money to be able to travel, to buy whatever you want, yet you're spending money on diseases?
Right.
Yeah.
And still on the substance abuse, alcohol. And in every alcohol advert, when it ends, there's that caution there. Excessive alcohol can be harmful, not for persons below the age of 18. So there's that precaution that is put right there. So then, how much alcohol is too much?
Okay, there are portions of alcohol which I may not really remember right now. Right. But I know for wine you take 1 glass per day for a woman, and for a man is 2 glasses per day, not per meal. Yeah,
it's per day.
Because the problem with alcohol is that it excites one of the systems in the body that is involved in controlling blood pressure and other factors in the body. And when it alters this system, the sympathetic system, you have a rebound effect. First of all, you lose so much water, so you go into a state of hydration. So when the sympathetic system is excited, then you have a rebound of high blood pressure. And high blood pressure is a mother of so many things down the line. And above all, alcohol also damages your liver, because that is where you're going to be digesting it. Right. So if you consume your liver when you are 28 years old, how are you going to live when you're 50?
Good question. Right, and there is the crackdown across the country for illicit brew. So do you laud the government for this move? You think it will save a lot of us for the near future?
I do support the government in that intervention, because whatever you do, you have to do it in moderation, and you have to take the right substance if there is anything like that. And I do believe alcohol is regulated, and we have brands that have been tested, and the government releases them. The Kenya Bureau of Standards will release a substance that is safe. Now, the next thing is to moderate the intake. So the illicit brews, you don't know whatever is contained in the substance that you are taking. And besides, we are eroding on the number of youthful people and young adults, people's parents. Then how shall we live without those people? Right. Yeah.
And the screening of the non-communicable diseases, hospitals, maybe tell us about the numbers of people who are admitted or come for screening for non-communicable diseases.
So the number of people that come for screening of non-communicable diseases are decimal. Most of the people who go to the hospital are seeking care. 98% of the people, they are seeking treatment. And this is where the problem is, because about 46% Kenyans live below the poverty line, and they pay out of pocket for health care. And this is unaffordable, it's unsustainable. So the key thing is just go for screening. Go for screening as soon as you hit 40 years of age. If your weight is in excess, go just have a blood pressure check. Is the thing that they do when you walk into a clinic. They will take your blood pressure, and you're going to be able to know, am I safe, not safe? And a blood pressure doesn't cost much. It's about 100 or 200 shillings, and it is available in our public institution. It's not as expensive, so you can begin by doing that. And you know, when you are in a place, a gateway. Places that you go to are a gateway, not the physical gate, they are a gateway. So when you are in a healthcare facility, you are likely to hear other things that you need to be cautious about.
Right. Yeah. So you're advising for the numbers to increase, people should seek more screening.
Yes. So screening is better at prevention of non-communicable diseases, other than going for treatment, because these non-communicable diseases do not have a cure, and they lead to functional disabilities, inability to operate, and organ failure, which is another expense. Because if your kidneys are failing, you need to be dialyzed, you need to have a transplant. And when you get the transplant, we need to maintain that organ in your body. It's expensive.
Right. Yeah. So, and as we close, diet is a very big challenge. It's just having a healthy diet. As when we look around, fast food joints, good business, fast growing, and our lifestyle as well, how we work, we do long hours. Look at us still here at this time, we do long hours. So it's easy to eat fast food than it is to get home and get my fresh vegetables and get my fish, start cooking. So it's easier when we purchase food that is from the fast food joints. So then it's a dilemma. How can we make this change and just realize that we can say no to this for the future?
Yeah, as I said, information is key. Information. Missing a dinner, unless you have ulcers, you can't stay without dinner. It's an advantage. Your stomach needs to rest on certain days. I'm not saying, Nelima, you starve yourself. So that's one option. The other thing is that you can carry your food at home. We can cultivate the culture. And I like the government for bringing up matters in relation to health, cracking down the centers of illicit brews and substances. We can also engage in terms of sensitizing the population, what to eat, not to eat, and also crack a whip on these fast food places.
Right.
Yes.
And also just keep having conversations like this.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Dr. Florence Kelly, consultant physician, endocrinologist. Very much appreciated. And that has been our conversation tonight. We're talking about ways to manage lifestyle diseases, and these are the non-communicable diseases. Across Facebook, Sami Kurgat says he is tuned in, and Oyando Wycliffe says, good evening, watching live from 045 KC branch, and Curtis Otieno says he is watching. Duncan Orondo says he is loving the show. We appreciate all your feedback, and let's keep the conversation going across all our social media platforms. Let's get healthy as a nation. At Lookuptv on Facebook, Lookuptv on Twitter, and Lookuptv on our YouTube channel. I am Nancy Nalima. Our sign language interpreter for tonight was Felista Adundo. Have yourselves a pleasant evening. Good night and enjoy the weekend.